So it's a new little segment trying to do called Favorite Friday. Just reach out to the community, and talk to people about their favorite books, favorite concepts from books and whatnot. Now, I'm not, as I'm saying, this is sort of starting out, so I'm not sure on the rules. But I guess one rule to make it a little more challenging is it has to be a book you've read in the last year. All right,
Yeah.
so and then I'm kind of thinking like, does it have to be limited to one book or maybe like three books? But I guess for now I'll say three books. So if you have more than one, please feel free to share. Just because if you love books and you love reading, it's always like it depends your favorite book on what you're trying to learn for each person. So yeah, if you got so what is your favorite book, Emiliano?
Sure. So actually, you told me this when you invited me to
Oh,
come
okay, cool,
to live, and I am prepared. I've got three books that I want to share here. Um,
awesome.
and yeah, so the first one is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, Awakening to Your
Hmm.
Life's Purpose. And I read this book. I think it was in February, or yeah, let's say February or March. And I read it because my friend Emilio Ortiz, he
Hmm.
suggested it to me.
Oh,
We,
nice.
we have been connecting, and in this book, Eckhart talks about like the main topic of the book is like how society is has like to transform into this new into having this new culture in which like it's not led by ego, it's led by consciousness and by like really awareness and oneness with nature and
Hmm.
with other people. That's like the main overview. But through the book, like Eckhart shares ideas on like self awakening, and that
Hmm.
was really, I mean, that was really great because like in, I would say the book is divided in three main parts. Like, um, and when Eckhart talks about ego, then like the middle part in which he talks about like transcending it, and the
Hmm.
final part which is like actual consciousness. And that is pretty cool. And yeah, ego is basically, at least from what I read, from what I learned from this book, ego is like attachment to beliefs, to ideas, to form, to shape, to something like material, or yeah, to beliefs that it could also
Hmm.
be something mental. And
Hmm.
ego, like, it limits us until a certain point. Like yeah, it makes us be attached to
Yeah.
something, and we're not adaptable. Um,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, then
like,
we're closed-minded, right? Then like closed-minded to
yeah,
anything else that's
exactly,
not like what we believe or perceive to be true.
exactly. Yeah, because something is like to have beliefs about something, and another thing is like to have beliefs and be closed-minded and think that those
Hmm.
beliefs are the only truth.
Yeah, the
And
only
yeah,
way.
what he shared, what Eckhart shares in the book is like this idea of creating space for consciousness,
Mm.
to be able to actually detach from things, which is something pretty cool. And how he
Mm.
shares like what is space and how to create spaces. Imagine that you're an astronaut in outer space, and so you have space literally between you and between the Earth, and you're able like to notice and appreciate the beauty of it, and also
Hmm.
like um, the insignificance of it. You detach from Earth, yeah, and,
Yeah, it
and that
makes sense. Yeah.
and that is something like pretty cool, and that's an analogy for creating space. It's like in this moment, um being conscious of this call, being conscious of like the room I am in, what I'm feeling, and being conscious and aware in general allows me to create this
Hmm.
space to also detach from the experience and see that I am not the experience. So that's, I would say, that like the my biggest lesson from the book. And like what he shares about like awakening being your life's purpose is that, yeah, like you have an inner and an outer purpose, and the inner is like to awake, and the outer is each situation. So right now that I'm talking to you, this is my purpose, and when I grab this
Mm.
glass of water to drink water, this is my
Mm.
purpose. What
I
he
see.
shares is basically like, yeah, the present moment. And yeah, it's a different approach to purpose, but what I liked a lot about this book is creating space to detach. So that's the
Okay.
first book. Uh-huh.
Okay. And then so that was Eckhart Tolle, correct?
Yeah,
Or Tolle? Is
yeah.
it pronounced Tolle with an E?
I'm not sure. He's
Okay.
German, so I guess, yeah, it is Tolle. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
um,
Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth for
yeah,
anybody
I
who
knew
just
it.
joined. Yeah.
Exactly. And then the other book
Nice.
Greenlights by Matthew McConaughey.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, so again, this is Matthew McConaughey's biography for
Hmm.
people watching and those of you who don't know. And like, this is really a very fun book to read, and also like it has got many lessons. Um, I think that's one of my biggest lessons, and I actually had a dream about this once when I was reading the book, and it was
Nice.
that like I don't remember like the actual quote from the book, but it was like, "Don't stay in the surface of things, like go granular." Yeah, Jim loves Greenlights, and yeah, Greenlights really is a great book
Hmm.
and a very fun book and a very fun story.
I see. And
And
is
yeah,
that one of those books where like you could read like a couple pages and then be done for the day, sort of thing? Like, because is it small lessons or is it like longer stories?
so he divides the book like in, I think it's 7 chapters, and in each
Okay.
chapter he shares like a stage of his life.
Okay, nice.
And yeah, so it's like reading a story. I would say this is like a read you can read in the night or just to chill.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like he doesn't actually share ideas like actual concepts as in manure, for example.
Hmm.
But through his story, he shares things that he has learned and
I see.
everything. And that was
It's
really,
like a reflection, like on his life, pretty much.
what do you mean by like a reflection?
So like I'm imagining it like it's him looking back from because I've tried to look into how he created the book, and it's like him looking back from like when he was 15 to now, and it's just him sort of sharing each
Yeah,
of those
yeah,
like internal like reflection of himself with the world, sort of thing.
yeah. That's basically it. Actually, in the let me read that quote because in the last page
Nice.
of the book, um, yeah, he's got this part that says, "When you can design your own weather, blow in the breeze. When you're stuck in the storm, pray for luck and make the best of it. Rather than struggle against time and waste it, let's dance with time and redeem it. We live longer when we're to be sick." What? Wait, sorry. Yeah, but the point
No
here is
worries.
that he shares like um getting relative with the inevitable. So
Mm,
he like this idea of a green light is when you are these moments in life when you like flow, when it's like just moving forward, and it's easy
yeah,
like to keep moving. Those are like easy times. That's a green
I
light.
see.
And
Mm,
I would say that like the main lessons from the book are about how to create green lights, and again, going granular instead of just staying in the surface is one of them. Like to is one lesson to actually create green lights. Another one, which was a reason why I read and you read, is that he shares the idea of finding your frequency, which is basically like knowing yourself. Um,
okay.
and yeah, that is pretty cool. That's just an idea that has been around for a long time, but I also like that idea. And so this book
Nice.
was cool basically because of the story and the
Hmm.
experience of reading it, because I was reading it with the audiobook, and
Oh,
Matthew
okay.
McConaughey's voice is really like something very nice to listen to.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, so the experience was very cool. The lessons were very valuable, and it was a great book.
And those are
Um,
always cool,
and
like when you have the author reading like their own book, because
yeah,
you can hear
yeah,
like the slight tones and like the slight like it adds extra emotions to the actual book.
it
Like it's
does.
like the book comes alive, and the book is literally just talking to you from this person.
Yes,
Because like when you read a
yes,
book, you imagine sort of the author just teaching you things, but then now you have the audiobook, so you're literally an apprentice of like Matthew McConaughey and everybody else who's
yeah,
read his book, or at
yeah.
least especially if you listen to the book, right?
Exactly. That's what I felt when I read that book. And the last one is Getting Naked by Joel Primus.
Hmm.
And this is not like A New Earth and Greenlights are very popular books. They actually are bestsellers. But Getting Naked is a self-published book by Joel Primus. And Joel is he was the founder of Naked Brand Group, a business about underwear, basically. And so through the book, he shares like how he started the company, how he raised the money, and how he started like growing it, and
Hmm.
then taking it to New York to go public, to
Mm.
yeah to do its IPO. And so like this again in this book, the story is pretty fun. There are many pretty fun parts of the story. And actually, Joel reads the audiobook, and in this case,
Oh, nice.
I didn't listen to the audiobook while reading the book, but yeah, that's just a fun fact. But yeah, like the point here is that the story is pretty enjoyable, and there
Hmm.
are many lessons. Like here's my mind map of the book, and you can see like all the lessons.
Nice.
And yeah, he shares like he starts by sharing about taking the leap and setting a vision, then like on the entrepreneurial part, like structuring your company, setting the why, the values, the principles, the essentials, the goals, and actions. And he also shares like how to hire people and how to interact with customers. And then he goes to talk about products and marketing, like
Hmm.
the day-to-day life of an entrepreneur. And finally,
Nice.
about how to let go of a company because he ended up leaving Naked Brand. But
Oh, really?
yeah, it really was a very cool read and a very insightful read because I think that I have read only like two, let's say, really valuable business books, and those have been Getting Naked and The Personal MBA, which is a book like this
Yeah.
big. Or, yeah,
Yeah.
probably this.
It's like a textbook, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
exactly textbook. And so this was another really fun read, and I am trying to apply actually many concepts from this, like into the business part of the
Mm,
reader mentioned.
nice.
These are three books that I have read in actually in the last 6 months.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, New Earth, Greenlights, and Getting Naked. And yeah, those are like the three books that I would suggest and that I wanted to talk about.
Okay, nice. Well, thank you for sharing, Liliana. I definitely appreciate it and taking the time. Um, how is a personal MBA, by the way? Like, how is that structured?
Like I think it's got like 10 main parts of it. And
Okay.
yeah, so let's say that each part is like 60 pages long. And in the first part, he shares like why, in his opinion, an MBA is basically a waste of time and resources because you could use those resources and that time um, into actually taking action. And
Hmm.
so yeah, in the first 60 pages, he just like shares his way of thinking.
Well, because I'm actually like I'm on my last year of university, and I'm
Mhm.
like contemplating whether or not maybe do an MBA because I
Uh-huh.
like to like sort of manage and like and like vision,
Yeah.
big picture things. So I like to sort of like manage and like figure out how to coordinate things and whatnot. I'm very big picture. I'm not too well in the details. So I was like, well,
Yeah,
maybe play to my strength. But then if
mhm.
he provides a whole case of, hey, yeah, don't get your MBA because it's silly. It's a waste of resources. So, huh?
Yeah, I would say it depends from person to person. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so in the other parts of the book, he shares marketing principles, product development principles,
Mm-hmm.
product delivery principles and ideas, and then like leadership principles and psychology. So he shares like all the main things about a business or all like the main things that you should know from an MBA, except
Mm-hmm.
for finances. He doesn't share finance stuff there. But yeah, it's really. I mean, I would maybe suggest that you read that book and see if if you find it
Yeah,
valuable, and from
I'll
there
check it
decide
out.
if you take
Yeah,
an
for sure.
MBA.
Yeah, like to hear someone say, "Oh, yeah, no, an MBA is kind of a waste of time and waste of resource." Oh, okay, cool. I mean, good to know because it can be a lot of money depending, especially depending where you go and whatnot, and then time commitment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say that that's like the main point. It depends from person to person and
yeah,
depends on what your vision is. Because
yeah.
like with your brand, so you've got your podcast, you've got BookDevs, and
Hmm.
you've got DevNation, right?
Yeah.
Do you plan like on actually keeping developing these
Oh
three
yeah.
brands?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like my thing is, I'm gonna keep doing this at least for the next 5 years. Like no doubt in my mind.
Great.
Um, although I'm almost certain I'll probably do this for the rest of my life. I'm just trying to figure out like get more, I guess, niched down on the overall purpose. All right. So like I just recently changed the podcast to DevNations podcast, right? And originally it was like Mind Devs. I thought maybe I'd do something like with devs and Devs Nation or something, but I realized it was still kind of like what is it, ambiguous, I think is the word. So I was like, okay, I need to like, because the whole point of me doing all of this was to help other people through the struggle of the pandemic and to help other people learn. And originally started just with finance, but then I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I mean,
remember.
I enjoy finance, but I also really enjoy like geeking out and talking about concepts, talking about ideas that like, like a lot of people don't talk about, and share. And not only that, but sharing the resources. So if other people want to learn, they can learn. So then I recently did I had a, what is it, a consulting meeting with Laura Bull. She's the author of From Individual to Empire, and she sort of helped me figure out like, oh, okay, like I think it's to help creatively empower, young adults sort of transition from teenage teenagehood to like adulthood, and adults too, like because my thing was I didn't want to niche down because I was like adults could still
Yeah.
use this, right? But I realized, well, I can say it's for young adults transitioning into adulthood, but if you're an adult who wants to use it too, by all means, right? But yeah, so I
Hmm.
recently just switched it so like BookDevs helps provide resources specifically from books, and it just happens
Yeah.
that I also love books, so it's like, well, that works, like it's like cool. And yeah, so it's all the same mission, just through different pillars.
Yeah, to different like vehicles to actually achieve the
Mm-hmm.
mission. I
Yes.
think of that in a similar way too. So I would say that I've got two main brands, like the Reader Lounge and the podcast, the Transformation Journey. And so yeah, with the Transformation Journey, it's mostly like about connecting with mentors and then
Mm-hmm.
sharing that information with people.
Yep.
Um, and with the Reader Lounge, it's to actually empower, awaken, and live transformation through books, and that's what we are all doing in the Instagram community.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice. Hmm. What made you want to do like two separate, like what, pages or names for like the podcast and then the Reader Lounge?
Yeah, so like in the beginning, the podcast was the Retail Lounge podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was basically one brand, and the podcast was a branch of it. But then,
Mm-hmm.
like, I didn't like pay close attention to the podcast, and they didn't really invest in it, like in time and like energy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and well, yeah, in resources, I recently bought a microphone, which obviously costed money. But yeah, so like I didn't actually invest that much in the podcast as I was doing with the Reader Lounge. And then like yeah, reflecting, I decided that I wanted to create two different things. To be able to actually like develop each one to into like great brands and great businesses. Um, but yeah, like my point, or what I am trying to do is like to yeah create two different brands that start like gaining momentum with an audience and in the side of business and of adding value, to keep growing them and to keep growing them, and yeah, generating an impact through them.
Yeah.
That's what yeah I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to. And yeah, I mean, me too. I like with the podcast, I would say that at least for the next 5 years, I do plan to carry on with it. And with the Reader Lounge, I would say that like for many, many, many more years. For my personal future, I have like this vision of being sort of a Richard Branson like person,
Mm-hmm.
Richard Branson like entrepreneur, because I want to build different brands around different like industries. And yeah, books are one of them. I do plan on the Reader Lounge maybe becoming a big thing that can actually like generate a global impact through synergies like the live stream that
Yeah.
we are doing right now and through the
Mm-hmm.
different yeah, vehicles.
Yep. Yeah. No, I totally get it. Like I remember growing up and like hearing Virgin, and then it's like, okay, wait, he has like all these different companies with Virgin now, and I always thought that was so cool. And then eventually I was like, wait a minute, instead of trying to make these things like separate things, why not just have it all, like you said, like a synergy in a sense, right? That help
Yeah,
complement each other. It's like, oh
yeah.
yeah, it's really
Actually,
cool.
well, in the case of Richard Branson, like he's got the companies with the same like base name, Virgin. But
Yeah.
in the case of Elon Musk, for example, he's got SpaceX, Hyperloop, Tesla,
Yeah.
Solar City, Neuralink, and all of those, which have different names, but still they like interact. I think that
Mm-hmm.
Neuralink and Tesla are related. And then in his biography, in Elon Musk's biography, Ashley Vance shares how like sometimes SpaceX engineers go and help Tesla's engineers and
Hmm.
vice versa. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like a unified field, which is actually something pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. Yeah, I listened to the audiobook for that one, and I thought it was
Yeah.
mad cool to understand and kind of interweave into like how like it first how it was when it was starting out. Like how yeah, I work at SpaceX, but I'm just gonna go help Tesla and whatever. Like
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I thought that was cool. By the way, I'm curious. Do you plan on like doing university at all? Like, are you planning on doing like engineering or something? Or just curious.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I do plan like on I do plan on like doing college studies or university studies, but I'm not sure like on what really.
Oh,
I know that I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, and at least like now I'm not needing a degree to be an entrepreneur and to actually make an impact
yeah.
and to be able to monetize this. But then I think like for I think if maybe in the future I would like to create a space company or a travel like or a cruise line company or
Mm,
a
nice.
sustainable energies company or whatever.
Yeah.
For those things, like actually knowing about engineering and those things would
Hmm.
be something useful. But yeah, I mean, I've got, I still have got 3 years of high school, and I still have got time to decide. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Figure it out.
something around that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just curious. I mean, and I totally get it. Like things, and then it's like, well, how do you choose just one if you want to do all these other different things? Like, part of me was like, okay, like I'm studying computer science. I'm finishing out my last year, but originally I also thought, well, what if I do like a computer science and business? Because I knew I want to do something with technology, and I
Mm.
want to do something with business. But it's like, with college, that's my only issue with college. It's like you have to choose like one thing. And it's like,
Yeah,
but like you said, like we can do so much now. Like we can create all these different things and outside of college. It's like, okay, cool.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Because for example, like this companies in Silicon Valley, their most of the people there are like engineers or
Hmm.
coders or whatever, and they like create businesses around that.
Hmm.
And I think that I have heard Elon Musk also talk about how he like in his companies is not in charge of the business part and in the finance part. Like, he actually is an engineer, but he builds these companies, and that's like
Yep.
something pretty cool and something that we can learn from because like the point is
Hmm.
to be resourceful and to have the skills to be able to create things. And the episode that I uploaded this week on my podcast was with On Abdi, and then it On and I talked. Well, in a part of it, we talk about how he focuses on developing different skills then he can like synergize um,
Hmm.
to be able to differentiate himself from other people to be like that purple cow. And that's
Hmm.
again what we are saying, like the point of reading about different subjects is to have different tools that we can use in different situations
Yep.
to be resourceful and yeah, to be able to make an impact and actually do something meaningful.
Yeah, and I definitely think like once you can find, as I've followed you for quite some time, so I know like as you find your purpose and you find your different values, and for every single person, it's like then building out those like what is it? Going towards those strengths that you do enjoy help you empower your own personal creativity, which then allows you to help empower the rest of the world and bring impact to the world because you're allowing like your creativity to sort of flourish with these different skills. That's cool.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. You're tapping into that part of you and externalizing that because we as bloggers right now are sharing stuff that we find valuable, and
Hmm.
then some people find that valuable. And the more people that find something that we share valuable, then the more our audience grows.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's an audience and a niche for each thing.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I appreciate your time, Emiliano. Oh, actually, I do want to ask one more thing. So your mind maps.
Oh yeah.
What is your process for creating mind maps? I'm just curious, because like for me, I have a composition book, and I just kind of write out like quotes or I'll doodle in it while I'm reading to help visualize things. But I'm just curious as to your process. Like, how do you personally enjoy doing it?
Yeah, well, just before like telling you about that, fun thing is that this morning and through the last weeks I have been designing let's say a course that I'm gonna create on how I actually like the mind maps and all that. So
Oh,
yeah, that
nice.
might work. But yeah, like my process in general, I would say is that like when I read, I take notes, and I, for example, if a page is really interesting with pencil, I circle the number of the page and highlight or underline some quotes or some things that I find interesting. Sometimes I also take notes, like in the page of the book. And after I finish the book, like I basically sit down with a piece of paper, some stabilos, uh, and with my headphones, and then yeah, I just like
Yeah, just
basically start to go through the book. Well, first I start by like writing the title of the book,
mm,
um, visually appealing way. And then as I start to go through the book and to recap what I learned and to review like the things that I highlighted and that uh, and that I wrote down, as I start to go through those, I also start like to write down stuff for the mind map. And so, like for example, in this one, in the one of getting naked, I started with the title, and then I went like this. So basically, there's a subtitle, like the main
yeah.
subject that I was gonna write about, and then here I write some ideas, and here a little drum that like sure it shares like more about the the lesson, and I just go connecting the dots. And that's what I try to do
Yeah.
mostly, like to connect the dots in a
Hmm.
literal sense.
Yeah.
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 So this is like the way for me. Um,
Yeah.
I know that many people like prefer to just write stuff down,
Mm-hmm.
and to use other techniques, but this is one that
Yeah.
has worked for me. Worked for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for each individual person. I think everyone gets so caught up in like, oh, well, if Emiliano's doing this, I have to do this too. It's like, well, just
Yeah,
find what works for you. You know, like whatever tools are good for you, that's how you learn.
yeah, and that's
All
the
right,
same
Emil.
with books. Like if we read something in a book, then let's try it out and see if it
Yeah,
works for us. Then we
yeah,
we we keep applying it, and that's it. It's just like testing stuff and
yeah. And if it
learning
doesn't,
what
then it's like,
works and
it's okay.
uh,
Yeah.
you let it go, and that's
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because I think when you first start reading, right, like you sort of put that pressure, like, oh crap, now I got to do all the things in the book, even though I don't like them. But like you said, just test it, see what happens.
Yes. That's
uh, and just wanted to ask, did you have any questions or anything else for me at all?
well, I wanted to also congratulate you for the work you're doing for this live
Thank you.
stream, for what you're sharing on your podcast, what you are sharing in this page, and for the value that you are sharing. That's really something meaningful. And yeah, congratulations. Keep it up. And thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you too, Emiliano. I really appreciate your work. It's been fun to see you grow as well and like learn from each other too. Like I really appreciated you sharing and it's fun. I'm excited to see where we'll be in a couple of years and for sure got to keep in touch.
Yeah, we will. Well,
Yeah,
all right. Again, thanks for inviting me. And this was cool.
absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's Favorite Friday, where we discuss the community's favorite books and concepts and ideas. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Emiliano.
Well, have a nice day.
You too. Take care.